welcome to you in this class on the topic measurement and unit. I am Sushil Chandra Gautam to teach you here this topic. This chapter is very important for the students of grade 6, 7, 8 and 9 according to the syllabus in the context of Nepal. Today, before entering to the topic measurement, we should be clear about the two terms, that is physical quantity and non-physical quantity. Physical quantities. Physical quantities are those quantities which can be measured. Means that, for example, simple example, you can weigh mass, you can measure the distance between the 2 points, you can measure time. These all are physical quantities. Means physical quantity means what? Those quantities which can be measured. And non-physical quantities means those quantities which cannot be measured. Love, affair, hate, you cannot measure these quantities and cannot be expressed in terms of unit. That means kg, centimeter, likewise. So these quantities are what? Non-physical quantities. And physical quantities are only applicable for what? Measurement. Then now, after being clear about the physical quantity, how can we express it? We can express it in two terms. That is, physical quantity is the product of quantity and unit. Quantity means value, how much the value is. And unit means it is a reference standard with which the physical quantity is compared. For example, if you go to the shop and ask for 1 kg apple, then that 1 kg apple, that 1 kg, 1 is quantity and kg is unit. Quantity means the value, how much, 2 kg, 3 kg apple, that quantity means how much the value is. And kg means unit in which you are expressing. Suppose if you are measuring the distance between the 2 points, that is the distance between these 2 points is 3 centimeter, then that 3 is what? Quantity, and that centimeter is what? Unit in which you are expressing. That's why quantity and unit, we can define the physical quantity by expressing it by the product of quantity and unit. And I have already said only the physical quantities are important or applicable for the measurement. Then what is measurement? Let's introduce the term measurement. Measurement means it is the comparison of unknown physical quantity with the known standard physical quantity. Means, what is standard quantity? You should be clear about it. Standard quantity. Standard quantity. Standard quantity means, suppose if you go to the shop and ask for 1 kg apple, then what the shopkeeper will do? Shopkeeper will put the 1 kg dog in one side and he put some apples to the another side. Means that 1 kg dog which is used, that is called standard quantity. Means that reference standard what you taken to measure the substance, that is called standard quantity. And what you are going to compare the unknown substance, that unknown substance that is apple, and you are comparing that unknown substance with that standard quantity, that is called what? Measurement. I think you are very clear about the measurement. Then let us define measurement here. Measurement is defined as the comparison of unknown physical quantity. Be clear here, unknown physical quantity. Why I am keeping here physical? Physical means I have already said those quantity which can be measured only are applicable for the measurement. For example, the love shown by you to your parents. You cannot measure how much you love you do to your parents. 1 kg, 1 meter, how much? Affair, hate, how much hate you to your enemies. Can you measure it? No. That's why for this type of quantities, it is not applicable. So I am keeping here physical quantities. Measurement is applicable only for the physical quantities. then we can easily define that measurement is the comparison of unknown physical quantity with the known standard physical quantity. I have already defined that standard. Standard means that 1 kg which you were taken the dhok, 1 kg dhok, that is the standard. So after defining the term measurement, we should enter to the unit. Physical quantity we have already defined. Then now we are entering to the topic unit. Then what is unit? Unit is the reference standard with which the physical quantity of same kind are compared. Why I am using this word same kind? While you are measuring the length between this and this point, at that time you should use the unit either meter, centimeter, foot, kilometer, watt. You cannot use the unit kg. Means that while you are measuring the height of this building, you will not say that this building is of height 10 kg. You will say what? This is of height 10 meter, 10 kilometer, 10 centimeter, watt. That's why same kind means for one specific type of quantity, the same specific type of unit should be used. Now, after defining the unit, that means unit we have already defined the reference standard with which the physical quantity of same kind are compared. Means while you are measuring the substances, you should use what? Unit also. Without the unit, it is not completed here. Be clear about it. Then now, basically we have two types of quantities. Means that physical quantities are of two types. These are fundamental quantities and derived quantities. What are fundamental quantities? Fundamental quantities are those quantities which do not depend upon the other quantities. Means that, for example, if you are measuring the length, that length is fundamental quantity. Why the length is fundamental quantity? Because that length means that, for example, 1 meter length, that 1 meter length cannot be expressed in the terms of kg. For example, 1 meter wire is equal to how much kg? It is not the constant. Means that it cannot be expressed to the other quantity. That's why this is called what? Fundamental quantity. Basically, there are 7 fundamental quantities: length, mass, time, luminous intensity, length, mass, time, luminous intensity, current, temperature, and amount of substance. That these all 7 quantities are fundamental quantities because they do not depend upon the other quantities. Then now, derived quantities. Derived quantities are those quantities which are derived from these 7 fundamental quantities. After the using of these quantities, we can derive the other quantities. Rather than 7 these quantities, all the quantities what you hear are derived quantities. For example, velocity, area, volume, frequency, except then these all, etc. There are only 7 fundamental quantities, but there are so many types of derived quantities. Then let us know about the difference between quantity and unit. Sometimes you may be asked in the examination that quantity and unit. Sometimes you may be asked that differentiate between fundamental quantity and derived quantity. And sometimes you may be asked that difference between the fundamental unit and derived unit. And then what will you write here? If you are asked that difference between fundamental quantity and derived quantity, at that time you will use this length, mass, time, luminous intensity, current, temperature, amount of substance. These are the quantities. Means those things which you are going to measure are the quantity. But those reference things which you are taking while measuring the substance. These are the what? Unit. Means that length is measured in what? Meter, centimeter, kilometer, mass is measured in kg, time is measured in second, intensity, luminous intensity is measured in candela, current is measured in ampere, temperature is measured in Kelvin, degree Celsius, etc. Amount of substance is measured in what? Mole. Means that while you are using these quantities, front quantities, these are the quantities, and what you are using behind it as a reference standard, these things which you wrote behind are what? Unit. And here velocity is what? Quantity. And another thing here you write meter per second, that is what? Unit. Area is what? Quantity. But what you write here as a reference standard, that is called meter square, is called what? Unit. Volume is quantity, whereas meter cube is what? Unit. Frequency is what? Frequency is quantity, whereas hertz is called what? Unit. That's why you should be clear that while you are solving the questions, either there is a fundamental quantity and derived quantity, or difference between the fundamental unit and derived unit, you should be clear here. Okay, then now, after knowing these things, fundamental and derived quantities, what will you write the difference? Fundamental quantities are those quantities which do not depend upon the other quantities. Derived quantities are those quantities which are derived from the fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities are how many in number? 7 in number. Derived quantities are how many in number? So many in number. Fundamental quantities example are what? Length, mass, time, luminance intensity, etc. Derived quantities are what? Velocity, area, volume, frequency, etc. Then now, if you are asked to write difference, what? You will write instead of quantity, that is the fundamental unit are those units, not quantity. Fundamental units are those units which do not depend upon the other units. Derived units are those units which depends upon the what? Other units, or are derived from the other units. While you are taking example, what will you write? Meter, kilogram, second, these are the example of fundamental units. Whereas meter per second, meter square, Newton, what do you write? Rather than that of 7, then what will you write here? The example of derived units. Okay students, with this I think I should stop my class for today. Thank you all. Thank you very much.